Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Merino. For my research topic, I wanted to focus on what inclusion looks like for students with disabilities when they're accessing STEM lessons. For my research topic, I wanted to focus on the type of accommodations and support that are available for them. And I was also curious to learn the type of teacher preparation programs and professional development available for teachers to truly support every student in their classroom, especially students with disabilities. The agenda for my presentations are the following. Why is inclusion important in STEM field? Benefits of inclusion to students with disabilities, strategies for supporting students with disabilities during STEM lesson, teacher preparation and support for STEM, student with disabilities access to STEM careers, plus successful people in STEM careers. And for finally, my conclusion and takeaway. So why is inclusion important? From the IDEA Act, this statement stuck with me. Every student deserves the right to achieve his or her fullest potential. Think of this statement as you imagine being a STEM teacher for students with severe disabilities. What does access to STEM lessons mean for them? For me, when I think of this statement, I automatically think of the term inclusivity, equality, and diversity in terms of student access to STEM lessons, particularly students with disabilities. This link over here that I provided, it's a YouTube link. It's a short video summarizing some key points of why diversity and inclusion is important. For the sake of time, please feel free to click on the link and watch this video at your own time. So what are the benefits of inclusion for all students? Really, but for this particular topic, I'm focusing on the access of students with disabilities to STEM lessons. Student with disabilities has unique needs, whether it's physical, sensory, management, or organization skills. Their inclusion in STEM lessons provide them with a hands-on learning experience, building their social skills because most STEM lessons foster collaboration and learned and team effort. So during my research, I came across this study conducted in West Virginia public schools for teachers teaching students grades 6 to 12. The data that were collected used an open-ended questionnaire focusing on teachers' experience with implementing STEM lessons and their observations on how these practices impacted student disability. Some of the research main focus was to perceive benefits of STEM education, challenges that teachers face in the implementation of STEM education, and promoting collaboration and hands-on STEM practices that leads to inclusion engagement of the student with disabilities. So the results of the study showed that teachers mentioned the need for specialized training as a critical factor in which they should get training programs that address adaptive teaching strategies. So they need more professional developments. And they also need more strategies for classroom management for diverse learners, teacher training that provides behavior management, and other strategies to truly support the students. Teachers also noted that hands-on learning truly helps students with disability to remain engaged in the STEM lessons. So the effectiveness of active learning. Teachers in this study emphasize experiential learning, project-based activities such as building model, help kinesthetic learners to thrive. Lastly, teachers in this study stated that their need for supportive environments. So supportive environment can mean including smaller class sizes, having classroom aids, or access to adaptive tools. Other support can include providing intentional grouping and peer support that fosters more inclusion and enhance student confidence outcome. So what are their strategies for supporting students with disabilities during STEM lessons? During my research, I found some of these strategies that has been supported to help students have more access to STEM lessons. One of them is that teachers should utilize support that engages multiple senses, using a combination of visual, auditory, or kinesthetic, or hands-on learning, such as, using multisensory learning approach. During the lesson, students can benefit from interactive simulations or videos using physical and tangible manipulatives or other forms of accessibility for the lesson. Another one is to differentiate instruction for diverse learners. So differentiation can look like individualized learning approach where students can provide accommodations such as visual step-by-step checklists, multiple ways for students to show their understanding, or like varied assessment method, or multiple days to complete the project. Other strategies are to use of assistive technology when applicable to students. Some of this assistive technology could be speech-to-text software to address writing difficulties, screen readers, or enlarged text for visually impaired students. Other strategies for supporting students with disability is to foster collaborative and supportive environments, such as offering opportunities for team collaborations and group work, engaging students with positive reinforcements, and celebrating their achievements when completing the STEM projects. Other biggest strategies for students is to make a real life world connections to STEM lessons, such as relating STEM topics to everyday life, engaging students with hands-on projects that truly reflects their interests. Other strategies to make STEM lessons accessible for students with disabilities is to modify physical spaces. This is to adjust physical spaces for students. It could look like, adjusting lab tables, accommodate for students with wheelchairs, providing visual timers or noise cancellation headphones for students that are more noise sensory. Other strategies is to increase teacher collaborations, such as, pairing STEM teacher with a special education teacher so that they could support with implementation of accommodations, according to the student's IEP. And also having clear expectations and support received can enhance the likelihood of student engagement with the presence of support staff. And one of the most important strategies to implement is to engage families as partners, such as regular communication with parents about their student progress and ways that, STEM lessons could kind of be adaptable to their home environment if necessary. And then some of the teacher preparation support resources that I found through my research is, according to the chapter 5 reading that we have this week, um, a lot of them are emphasizing of, you know, teacher competence with implementing STEM lessons, such as they need to take additional coursework with 3 areas, such as in life, science, life, earth, and physical science is mandatory. Some teachers are feels like they're not so prepared to teach STEM lessons because only about 5% of elementary school teachers had, a degree related to science education. About 41% of middle school science teachers earned a degree in science, and 35 of middle school teachers had a degree in mathematics. So there's a lot of kind of, a lot of a lot of a lot of support that's needed for teachers to truly be prepared. And then so other teacher preparation and support that needs for teachers to truly be ready to teach STEM lessons are, like having educators self-efficacy. So when teachers are confident and has adequate background knowledge in STEM topics that they're teaching, they're more likely to transfer that knowledge and understanding to their students and as well as increase their likelihood for the students to stay engaged and interested in the topic. So, when teachers show lack of confidence in like math or science knowledge, they're less likely to continue seeking professional development that continues with like engineering and things like that, because STEM lessons highly focus on integration. It is equally important for teachers to receive the expertise on integrating one subject to another in order for them to be truly confident in teaching the lessons. So educators need more professional developments that gives them, substantial understanding to one subject that leads to another, and so that they could be more prepared when teaching the lesson. So some of the teacher resources that I found from, the reading this week is this website or this program called You Teach Engineering. It's a teaching program at University of Texas at Austin, where they encourage undergrad students with STEM majors to pursue careers in secondary level math and science teaching. Some of them, some of the content foundation that's related to STEM, is physics, math, chemistry, engineering, which with this program, they'll earn a degree and certification and just kind of like get them more prepared to be teaching the lessons in their future classrooms. Um, Other universities across the country have also adapted this model, such as University of Massachusetts or University of Kansas and more. So when teachers are giving the opportunities to build their expertise from one content to another, they're likely to engage in further professional development, right? And in there's also if there's also an access to ongoing support and mentoring beyond their formal training, they're more likely to seek for more information to kind of like better themselves as teachers, as educators, and really truly invest their time in learning more about how to integrate STEM into their everyday teaching. And so, when we think about accessing for students with disabilities when they're pursuing a career in STEM fields, unfortunately, a lot of people with disabilities have not been given a gateway of opportunities to be represented in the STEM industries because a lot of STEM companies are seeing their disability as a barrier. However, in the next slide, there are two key figures that I found through this research study that you might not know, but they've greatly contributed to the field of STEM, and both of them have a disability. So one of them is Temple Grandin. She is an individual with autism. She is a pioneer in animal science and have made lasting contribution to understanding animal behavior. She has such unique abilities, and her particular attention to details have made her one of the most respectable professor and scientists in the STEM community. Another one, which I've never heard of him before, but finding through this study, it was kind of like really mind like opened my mind to so many different things that people with disabilities that doesn't get credit for, but they've had so many contributions, and they share those contributions for others to understand them. So Ralph Braun is He's pioneered engineering design, which gave him access to mobility. He was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy as a child, which limited his ability to be more mobile. And after designing a battery operated scooter and motorized wheelchair, Braun gave way in insights to further science studies, in engineering and building things while relating to his real life experience. So that's pretty amazing that he was able to share that experience and give way really to science, and from his own experience and the things that he's able to truly engineer himself as well. So my biggest takeaway here is really truly students with disabilities have the rights just like any other students with or without IEPs. They have the right to be included in all aspects of STEM education, and having an inclusivity or inclusion definitely promotes collaboration and improvement of social interactions for both, gen ed students and to students with disabilities, and it fosters such social growth and partnership between the two types of students or learners. And it's important that we're implementing, or teachers are continuously implementing strategies for supporting students with disabilities, during STEM lessons, and truly making them a part of the process. And one of the biggest takeaway too is that supporting teacher development is really imperative. It's really essential, and that growth is as equally important for teachers as it is for when they're supporting their students and their academic needs. So yeah, these are the reference that I use for this presentation. I hope you guys enjoy this. Thank you so much for listening.